So, this is lecture 18 of basic calculus 1. As you recall, we had discussed about maximum and minimum values of a function defined over an interval. So, we will be talking today about Rolle's theorem and mean value theorem, where we will be using those notions, but these are very fundamental results for differential calculus. Okay, let us see what it is. Suppose you have the curve y equal to f of x. For simplicity, we wrote this way. It will be easier to see what we want to say. So, you take one horizontal secant, that is in the yellow line. There is a horizontal secant joining the point A, f of A, which is here, and B, f of B. So, once it is horizontal, that means f of A equal to f of B, that height is the same. That is why that blue line is horizontal. Then what we see, we just hold that line and proceed upward. So, at some point it will just touch the curve. So, that is there is a horizontal tangent somewhere. So, that is what we say, there exists one point C between A and B such that it is horizontal. So, f prime of C must be equal to 0, its slope is 0. That is exactly the Rolle's theorem, but we will be seeing how to proceed about it. But we have to see first what is given and what is to be shown. So, here f is a function which is defined on the closed interval a b. At a also it is defined, at b also it is defined. So, we assume that it is continuous over the whole closed interval a b, and it is differentiable. You can say it is differentiable at the whole interval closed interval a b, but we require something less than that. We will say that it is differentiable in the open interval a b. That is, at a and b it need not be differentiable. Of course, at a and b, suppose a and b are the endpoints where the function is defined, then the derivatives are one sided. So, we even do not need it. What we need is function is continuous on the closed interval and it is differentiable in the open interval a b. You see, suppose one of them is dropped, then you may not get this idea that there is a horizontal secant implies there is a horizontal tangent. For example, let us take the first one here, first picture below a. So, there is a discontinuity of the function at the end point a. So, in this case you join a f a to b f b, though it is geometrically not a secant, but that is what it is, f of a equal to f of b, but that does not imply that there is a horizontal tangent. Nowhere there is a tangent to the curve which is horizontal. So, continuity on the whole interval a b is important. That is about the end point. Similarly, if you have an interior point, say at x 0, there is discontinuity of the function, then also you see there is no horizontal tangent in the picture b. And we also assume that it is differentiable on the open interval a b. If there is a point, say x 0, where it is not differentiable, then you see there was the possibility of tangent being horizontal only there, nowhere else there is a horizontal tangent, and it is not differentiable there. So, we cannot say f prime c equal to 0 there, that is a cusp like. So, the conditions or the hypothesis in the result what we are going to formulate are very important. So, let us formulate it and see how does it look. It says that f of x is a continuous function on the closed interval a b, and f of x is differentiable on the open interval a b, and f of a equal to f of b. So, these are the three conditions we are imposing. Under these conditions, we will see that there exists a point in the open interval a b, say c, where f prime of c equal to 0. That is the main idea of the Rolle's theorem. Of course, we will give a proof how it goes. So, the proof will use our notion of maximum and minimum. So, we have the extreme value theorem since it is continuous on closed interval a b, there is a point where the function achieves its maximum. There is also a point where the function achieves its minimum. So, we say that f of x has a maximum and a minimum in the closed interval a b. So, suppose we consider the first case where this maximum and minimum, at least one of these occurs at one of the endpoints, right. So, that is what we say, consider the case that both maximum and minimum of f x occur at the endpoints. So, maximum occurs at an endpoint, minimum also occurs at an endpoint. Let us consider this case first. So, in this case, one of them is a maximum, one of them is a minimum, but it is possible that both of them are maximum or minimum. That will be the easiest case, but we will show that that is the case. Now, since one is maximum, one is minimum and f of a is equal to f of b, so maximum of the function is equal to minimum of the function. So, that is why the function is a constant function. It is the same value, whatever is the maximum value or the minimum value, that is the value of the function throughout the interval. So, in that case f of x is a constant on the closed interval a b. So, once it is a constant, we know that its derivative is equal to 0 at everywhere in the interval. Of course, you see that we always assume implicitly that a is less than b. It is a non-degenerate interval. If it degenerates to singleton, then there is problem. There will not be an interior point, right. C may not belong to a b will become empty. So, our assumption is that a is smaller than b, it is a non-degenerate interval. Now, f x is a constant. So, f prime equal to 0 for every point inside that a b, open interval a b. So, you can choose any point and that will satisfy our conclusion of Rolle's theorem. Now, this is the case where maximum and minimum occur at the endpoints. Suppose it is not the case, that is the next case, that is one of maximum or minimum does not occur at an endpoint. So, our case was both of them occur at the endpoints. Now, we say the other case exclusive, exhaustive and which is not covered in that is one of at least one of maximum or minimum does not occur at the endpoints. So, where does it occur? It occurs because it is continuous on closed interval a b. So, there is a point say C where maximum or minimum whichever does not occur at the endpoints occurs at an interior point. So, call that point C. So, at C we have a maximum or a minimum and we know that it has to be a critical point and it is differentiable in the open interval a b. So, f prime of C exists and it must be equal to 0, right. So, that is the conclusion of Rolle's theorem. So, we will see many applications of this Rolle's theorem, but first application is we want a slight generalization of this idea, where we assume those two facts that f x is continuous on the closed interval a b and it is differentiable on the open interval a b, but we do not assume that f of a equal to f of b. That is f of a and f of b, there is some difference between their heights. Then what it says, there exists a point in C such that f prime C will be equal to f b minus f a divided by b minus a. Okay. So, we will see how geometrically it looks like soon, but let us see how to prove this first. So, what do we do? We define a new function g on the closed interval a b to R by g of x equal to f of x minus f of a minus f b minus f a divided by b minus a times x minus a. Suppose we define this function. This is well defined, you see, because we assumed that a is less than b. So, b minus a is non-zero. This is well defined. And since f of x is continuous on the whole of closed interval a b, this function x minus a, that is also continuous. So, you see the whole thing, that expression g x equal to f x minus f a minus f b minus f a by b minus a into x minus a, that defines a continuous function on the closed interval a b. Also, we find that g of a suppose I substitute x equal to a here. So, this becomes 0 and this is now f of a minus f of a, that is also 0. So, g of a is 0. What about g of b? It is f of b minus f of a minus, we substitute x equal to b. So, b minus a and b minus a cancels, again minus f b minus f a. So, that is also 0 and g is also differentiable on the open interval a b. a p is differentiable, x minus a is differentiable. So, this is also differentiable. Therefore, we can apply Rolle's theorem on g. So, that means there exists a point c such that g prime c equal to 0. But what is g prime c? It is really f prime x minus f prime a. So, now that everything will be evaluated at c, f prime x minus f prime a differentiation, that gives 0 and x differentiation is 1, a is 0. So, that is really 1. So, it gives f prime c minus f b minus f a by b minus a, that is g prime c equal to 0. So, that means f b minus f a is equal to f prime c into b minus a. So, proof is very simple, it is an obvious application of Rolle's theorem. We will see how does it generalize Rolle's theorem. So, all that it says, suppose you take a point a, x equal to a and x equal to b, look at the picture. So, we have the point a, capital A, which is a comma f of a, and capital B is b comma f of b. So, the slope of this secant is f b minus f a by b minus a. So, what Rolle's or mean value theorem says that there exists a point c where f prime of c is equal to this slope. That means, there is a point inside the open interval a b where the slope of the tangent is equal to the slope of this secant. That is how it is a generalization of Rolle's theorem. So, when f a equal to f b, you get directly Rolle's theorem from this. However, we have proved this using Rolle's theorem. So, there are alternate way of writing it. Instead of b, b is to the right side, we will write b equal to f of a plus h. So, that means b minus a, this distance is h. So, once you write b equal to a plus h with this distance writing as h, what we get is f b minus f a, which is f a plus h minus f of a divided by h. This is equal to f prime at some point c. So, now how do we write c? C is a point in between a and b. So, we can write c equal to a plus theta h, where theta is some number between 0 and 1. When it is equal to 1, it gives b, when it is 0, it gives a, and in between points are expressed by a plus theta h. So, it says that f prime at a plus theta h is equal to f of a plus h minus f of a divided by h, or we write this way, f of a plus h is equal to f of a plus h times f prime of a plus theta h for some theta between 0 and 1. So, this is also another way of rewriting the mean value theorem. Okay. So, we will see some applications of mean value theorem. So, our first application is the very important result, though it is very small reasoning is required to prove this. So, what do we do? We start with a function f, which is defined on an interval I and it takes real values. Suppose it is differentiable on the interval. So, you may think of some open interval. If closed interval, of course, one sided limits are there. So, if f prime x equal to 0 for each x in the interval, then f x is a constant function. So, we want to show what is written is f prime x equal to 0 for each x. So, in fact, if you take f of x is a constant function, then its derivative will be equal to 0, that we know, but it says something about the converse. If it is an interval and on the whole of the interval you get derivative equal to 0 everywhere at every point of the interval, then f of x must be a constant function. So, what do we do? We choose any 2 points, suppose f prime x equal to 0 and let us choose any 2 points in the interval a and b, where a is less than b. Then f is differentiable on I to R. This closed interval a b is a subset of that I. So, differentiability at a point implies continuity. So, f is a continuous function on the closed interval a b, and also derivative exists everywhere inside the open interval a b. So, it is differentiable on the open interval a b. Okay. So, now since this happens, we apply mean value theorem, f b minus f a equal to f prime c into b minus a for some c between a and b. Now, that f prime c equal to 0, so the right side becomes 0 and we get f b equal to f of a. So, it says that you choose any 2 points a and b inside the interval, f of b equal to f of a. Therefore, f is a constant function. Okay. So, that is the simple proof as an application of mean value theorem. But this also you can pose in another way. Suppose we have 2 functions on an interval f and g, and they are differentiable functions, and we know that f prime of x equal to g prime of x for every point x in I. Then you can think of f x minus g x as a new function. So, f minus g or f x minus g x is defined over I to R, and that f minus g prime equal to 0 on the interval I. So, applying the previous result, we get that f x minus g x is a constant. It is a constant function, some number. Therefore, we conclude f x equal to g x plus c for some constant c. So, this says that if the derivative of 2 functions are same inside an interval everywhere at every point of the interval, then they will differ by a constant. And there is another corollary which is called as mean value inequality, which says that suppose f x is a continuous function on a b and it is differentiable on the open interval a b, and suppose its derivative is bounded, say small m is less than or equal to f prime x is less than or equal to capital M for every x in that interval a b. Then what happens? We can find m into b minus a is less than or equal to, there is some mistake here, it is not f x, we can write f b minus f of a is less than or equal to m into b minus a. Of course, it is done for a b only. Instead of a b, suppose you choose any 2 other points, say x 0 and x 1 belongs to this interval a b, then we would say m into x 1 minus x 0 is less than or equal to f of x 1 minus f of x 0 is less than or equal to capital M into x 1 minus x 0. It is also formulated this way. In fact, all that we have to do is think of the restriction of f to this closed interval x 0 to x 1 and then apply this. That is sometimes called mean value inequality. So, now we will see some applications of this to solving some problems, how to use these results.